What Happened to Your Accent is produced by FeteWorld, the Caribbean Podcast Network.
Hey, lost your accent or what happened to you?
What happened to your accent?
What happened to your accent?
What happened to your accent? What happened to your accent? ¿Qué le pasó a tu acento?
Hey.
All right.
Little sweet Mickey.
Mickey real sweet.
Oh my gosh.
You gotta get to the chorus. I don't care. That's my favorite part.
It takes a little time to get there.
To say.
You know, we're gonna have enough time to get there, though.
He'll start going into it later.
Hey. Welcome to What Happened to Your Accent.
Hey, we're back.
We are back. We are also been serenaded by Sweet Mickey. One of the best.
I want to know what
best compa
make
artists.
So sweet.
Yeah.
What make him so sweet?
Oh my gosh, man. Great guy. Was also a prime minister of Haiti as well. How many people can say they have had that kind of accomplishment?
Yeah.
Wyclef tried to come and do it. Didn't work, Wyclef.
I think he can. I think he can. Don't sleep on Wyclef.
Okay.
He can.
All right.
Okay.
But enough about our own little things here.
Yeah.
We are here today.
Yes. I wish we need a drum roll. We need Steven. We need sound effects.
Right.
Thank you.
We'll just throw this stuff in right here. Sound effects for drum roll, please.
Yes. This is Jerk Sauce. I'm sitting here with Mansa, and in-house we have an in-studio guest. I'm so excited. You should see my face, y'all. We have one of the most dynamic financial gurus on the map, okay? Harlem's own.
Hey.
Okay? 4-time bestseller, national speaker.
Hey.
Named as one of the top financial experts to follow on Instagram by Black Enterprise, y'all.
Hey.
Give it up for Mr. AshCash.
Woo!
Thank you so much for having me.
AshCash.
Yes.
With a name like that.
That's it. Destined for money, you know?
All right now.
Yes.
So, Mr. AshCash, tell us a little bit about yourself. You are known as a money guru, and you are of Haitian American descent.
Yes. So I am, I'm from 129th Street and 8th Avenue. I'm from the projects, from St. Nicholas Projects in Harlem. Born to my mother and father, proud Haitians. Came here. My mom came in 1968. Dad came in 69. And so, grew up in a Haitian household, but in the hood. And so, I'm just a person who grew up low income. My dad left early on, and so my mom did her best, and because she didn't really speak any, good English, the only type of jobs that she had was factory jobs, and we weren't making enough to make ends meet. Didn't really understand like the welfare system and food stamps and things of that nature, and so we was dead broke. Which the funny thing about it is what allowed me to be who I am, because I've been a hustler since I've been 8 years old, right? So 8 years old, packing bags at the local supermarket, selling T-shirts and mixtapes on 125th Street, until later, when we was like 15, they were like, "Oh, food stamps, what's that?" And then
Went from bags to books.
You know what I'm saying? From bags to books, and so I've always been an entrepreneur, always been a hustler, always been somebody who knew that the key to a good life is money. So if somebody tell you that money don't bring you happiness, they don't got it.
They lied.
Oh my gosh.
They lying. They don't got it.
Lies.
People lies they tell, right? People who don't have money will tell you that money isn't everything. But I know from a kid, running into the first floor apartment, knocking on the window, telling my mother, "Here's $18," right, at the time, for packing bags. That put a smile on her face because she knew she could feed us,
Right.
And then fast forward, I had little, odd jobs here and there, but I started my banking career. I was 19 years old. Did everything. I used the same hustle I had in the street, used it in corporate America, did everything in banking, teller, personal banker, private banker, branch manager, CEO of a credit union.
You sure you're not Jamaican?
Nah, you're right. I got a little bit of Jamaican in me, right? And was able to transition from the banking world to an entrepreneur, and I'm an author of 8 books. 4 of them have been bestsellers. I travel the country speaking to people about money, how to change change their mindset to manage money. I've been on everything you could think of, every media outlet, Forbes, NBC, ABC, whatever, you name it, Black Enterprise, whatever, you name it, I've probably been on it. I'm Googleable too, so if anybody wants to, so my real name is AshCash. So if you want to, is on tous, right? Exontus is my, how you say it in Creole. And so if you want to Google me, you could Google me. If you want to Google AshCash, whatever you want to do. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah.
That's a lot in a nutshell.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, and that's wonderful because today is for us. Our focus is on these Caribbean mindsets when it comes to money.
Yeah.
You know, and it's great to hear about somebody who grew up on the block, took the hustling skills, and then transferred it into something real. You know, we want to begin today in terms of a discussion. And Jerk Sauce, you let me know if I'm going in the right direction here. You know, we want to play some things for you. We got some WhatsApp messages.
Okay, let's
from
do it.
Some of our audience members. You know, so it's going to, for listeners, it's going to sound a little groggy. You will hear that WhatsApp. You know how that sound. You know what I'm saying? We got some voice notes because we wanted folks, they were excited. They heard about you coming in.
Yes. And
they wanted to share their perspective of what they learned about, you know, money growing up as a Caribbean. So I'm going to play the first one.
And you touched on it, so it's like the energy's flowing in the right direction.
Yes.
You already touched on it, talking about your parents' money mindset.
Yeah.
And so I think that is at the foundation core. You know, when you think about when your subconscious is being programmed, it's that from in the womb to up to age 7. So everything that you're learning is basically just a blueprint. It's setting up how you're going to operate from 8 all the way up until you realize, oh, something's not right. And that's your parents' responsibility.
And it's funny you say that, right? So because I think we talked about it offline, so I don't think the audience heard about it. But my dad left when I was 2 years old, and he had a different money mindset than my mom. So my mom, she was number 3 of 13, right? And so it's funny. So my mom recently passed away this year, actually. And when my mom passed, I had to reach out to my cousin to get to do the obituary, and she started telling me things that I never even knew, which it was so many different parallels, right, in who my mom is or was and who I am, right, where she was good at sewing, and she got to America because she used to sew clothes for wealthy clients in Haiti, and then they used to let her go back and forth between America, right? Long story short, though, because she had 13 siblings, they didn't have any money, but she knew that if she had the opportunity to make money, and that's why she decided to go to America. She used to send money back and forth or whatever the case may be. But because she comes from that big household, don't have any money, there was a lot of scarcity in that, right? My dad, which I started connecting with him as I got older, he always had money. He's always been kind of not a big spender, but everybody came to him like he was the money guy, right? But if you start to think about their personality, my mother was always like, oh, we don't got it, so we can't do this. Like, it was always the scarcity thing. My dad was like, all right, we go to the store. He's like, if you want something, good. Like, he don't even care about price. He's like, all right, if you want it, just get it. Like, money is plentiful. You can always get it. And what I realized, even in my work that I do now, I realize that there is a big difference between people who have money and people who don't have money. People who don't have money or who haven't come from money, they have this mental money block that allows them to look at money as a scarce item, and that scarce item allows them to act in that way. Even if, right? So think about this, though. I know people who make a lot of money, but still live scarce, right? $100,000. Like, they make good money, but because they have the scarcity mindset, they still operate at just enough. And I think that mindset and really breaking those blocks is important.
This leads right into our first WhatsApp No. And this is, I believe, by Noreen Sandy. She's from Trinidad. And let's hear what Noreen has to say about what she learned as a Caribbean growing up about money.
I learned about saving your money from an early age. And I learned that also without money, you cannot do a lot of stuff that you want to do. Money, I know if the love of money is the root of evil, but without money in this life, you can't progress and move forward. My mother always taught me, and say things like, from the sweat of your brow you will eat bread. And she would always say, mother have, father have, blessed is the child that have his own. She will also say things like, learn to be independent and do not depend on anyone. So in life, money is necessary to do anything. She also taught us to save up for a rainy day. And my mother always believed in having your own business. You know, a long time ago when we were kids growing up, my mother, we owned a business, and you know, my mother always believed that working hard for your own business, you will get more benefits instead of working for someone. That's what she taught us.
So
Yeah.
So AshCash. Now, you heard a couple of things in there that were really deep, right? The concept of saving was an important one. Can you talk to us a little bit about, that mindset around savings?
Yeah. And so everything she said was spot on. So there's just one piece that I I don't agree with, is the saving for the rainy day, and that's just because I'm of the mindset that you get what you prepare for. And so if you're preparing for emergencies, if you're preparing for something to break down, or if you're preparing for something to go bad, then that's what will happen. And then you're gonna go back to that space of saving, to prepare yourself for something bad to happen. And so that's the only thing I didn't really connect with. Everything else I think was spot on, right? Because at the end of the day, if you have your own, if you understand that you are the source, you don't need anybody else, you don't need dependency on nothing but you. You have your own, you can control your own, and that is true financial freedom. If you don't have your own, then it's not, you're not financially free. I think that savings is good if you are someone who has money blocks, and you're at a space where you're not used to having money, and so saving money will allow you to know what it feels like to have money. But if you are a person who always has money and understands how money works, savings is not going to get you financial freedom, right? Savings is just a means for you to invest in that business, invest in things that create residual income, right? So the name of the game is not savings. The name of the game is cash flow. Is how much money are you bringing in? What money, how are you making your money work for you? That is the key, right? The whole thing that we need to do is change our relationship with money. Let's stop working hard for money and let money work hard for us. And so if we have money that we're saving up, that can't be the end goal, though. The goal is to save up money, but then now that you have this money, I'm not waiting for no rainy day, because no rainy day is happening, right? Because rainy days only happen when you're not prepared. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save that money, not for a rainy day. I'm gonna save it so I can invest it, so my money can work for me. So that if I don't want to work, if I want to sleep in my bed, if I want to take 4 days off, I can take 4 days off, because I know money's gonna come to me.
That's the rainy day when you get to sleep.
Exactly. 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 Yeah.
So something, I was triggered by something that she said, and in our first episode, Caribbean-ish, we talked about a few things, right? Being a traditional Caribbean and of that mindset versus being an international Caribbean. You came up here when you were young, or you were born here and you have roots in another Caribbean country. So she said she was encouraged and always taught to have her own business, right? And I thought back to, going back and visiting my home country. Yeah, everybody had a shop.
Yep.
There was always one uncle or auntie that had a shop. So what do you think has gotten lost? Because that wasn't really something that I was encouraged to do from a young age. It wasn't until I got older and I had my own education about money, and I was finding new things and bringing it to my mother. But then I was remembering, well, mommy, Mama Jerk Sauce had tried to start a catering business, and my stepdad has a business, but why wasn't that taught to us when we were young? Why weren't we brought in when we were younger, to the family businesses? Say, hey, we're going to do this together as a family. Instead, I was taught, go to school, get a good job, get your education. Not to say anything is wrong with getting an education, but at what point did someone say to me, go to school, and while you're going to school, learn how to build an LLC, learn how to set up. even the simplest of things, the lemonade stand. What's being? I feel like that's being lost.
Yeah, 'cause I think what happens is that and so this is a real study. They say by the third or fourth generation, wealth is disappears, right? The reason for it is because the first generation had to build wealth because of necessity. Like they had to do it, right? So they had to start their own shop. Nobody was giving them any jobs. They didn't have any education, so they couldn't go anywhere to get like these high-paying jobs or whatever. So they had to build these businesses. They build these businesses, they build this wealth, and then they tell their kids to go to school, right? Because they're watching the other sort of like wealthy, the small percentage, the small percentage of wealthy people who have built their wealth through passing it down to generation, and so they don't have access to that. Right. So they believe that going to school, getting an education is what's going to give you like long-lasting wealth, right. Not understanding that what they have already and what they built is the key to building that wealth. And so I believe that's what happens. What happens is they believe that they had to do it out of necessity. And so because they had to do it out of necessity, I don't want my kids to have to do this, right? Because entrepreneurship is not easy either, right? Because sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Like it's a struggle at some point. And so when you look, right, you look at this facade of working for somebody, going to school, it's painted as if that's the easier route. That's the safest route. That's the route that, that has more longevity. And so somebody who's an entrepreneur is not going to tell their kids in good faith.
Right.
Especially if there was a struggling entrepreneur to go down this route.
My parents have all the skills necessary to have built a great business. My mother was an amazing cook. And I ain't just saying it because it's my mama. But she was an amazing cook. My father, he can go out there and network his behind off. That man got a silver tongue. You know what I'm saying? He could talk to anybody. This man went into a space, right? He went in and got a house. Here's how we got the house. He didn't finish. He was supposed to go and put down a down payment on the home. He went into Citibank and found some other fellow Jamaican people.
You know how he is.
And all of a sudden, he got a loan to rebuild a house that he didn't have.
Blood fire.
That's how he got the house. I said, what the? So I know.
Went out for coffee and
whatever he said. I said, man, I hope you didn't cheat on my mother, brother. In order to get that kind of gift like that. I don't know what you did to get that. But he got that money. And so I knew that they could have done it. So I've been speaking to them. We lived in a space in Far Rockaway where there's a lot of Caribbean people. There were really good opportunities. There's only one competing store called Goodies in Far Rockaway. And I always said to them, listen, why don't you start your own business? And my mother always saying, no, cause when I'm not gonna support me. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, we have everything that we need.
Yes.
We would have worked our behind off to see that the business gets successful.
Y'all
But
could
it's
have
fear.
capitalized off of having extra oxtail gravy.
Come on.
Okay?
Come on.
Yeah.
And it was fear.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a fear of them going into something and that they felt very insecure. I don't think they necessarily had all the knowledge that they needed. But they used to always tell me, go to school, get an education, and as you say, to work for somebody else.
Absolutely, yeah.
When they had an opportunity to build wealth, because they were telling me, oh, go to school. And, for Caribbean people, doctor, lawyer, nurse, teacher. Well, not now. Not now with the incomes for teachers. Yeah. But those were the kind accountant. Those were the kind of fields they wanted to see you go in.
They were safe.
And they were safe.
Safe, and noble professions.
Exactly.
That brought in a lot of income that were seen as prestigious. Not that they aren't. They are. Yeah. But we weren't taught that there are a myriad of ways to make millions. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think it's all proximity though. It's all proximity. I think if you don't have access to it, all you can do is make assumptions based on what you see, right? And so I think that's why it's important that those who do, right, those who are business owners, those who are able to build these, multi-million-dollar corporations need, and if you are, wherever you come from, reach back to them and let them know, what it takes, because when you start letting people know what it takes to build those things, and that regardless of how difficult it is, owning your own business is the only way to secure your financial freedom, right? Because you can have, I always say this, right? I say, even if you have a good job, you should be an owner of something. Whether you own it and you run it, or you are investing in somebody else's thing, you need to make sure that you take that money and put it into something that you own. Because at the end of the day, when that job divorces you, you want to make sure that you are taken care of, that your lifestyle is not contingent on whether this job is in existence or not. And it has nothing to do with your boss. It might be the economy. It don't have nothing to do. You might be the best worker ever.
It's not personal.
It's not personal. And you got to understand that. You got to understand that if you don't control the narrative will control you,
Definitely. So we'll play the next person who submitted, and that is Sandy of Jamaican descent. Well, she's Jamaican, not Dominican descent. She's Jamaican. And let's play Sandy's response.
My first lesson in money came from my mom, and her favorite words were, "Money doesn't grow on tree." So therefore, once we got money, she would tell us, make sure you save something out of what you got. For most of us, our parents knew nothing about stock market, stocks or bonds, or anything of that sort. Their own whole idea of savings surrounded the whole idea of joining what is known as a partner or a susu. For them, that was the easiest way to gather a large sum of money over time. My mother also introduced me to the whole idea of the credit union. Where with a credit union, you're able to save a certain amount of shares and you can go into them and borrow this large sum of money, which of course you pay back over time. And in some way that was still a form of saving because you had to still save while you're paying back the loan. So for me, I still take some of those lessons that my mom taught me as far as saving for a rainy day. That rainy day can be a day that you don't have a job anymore, can be a day when you're sick. And, if you're saving while you're working or as you go along, when the rainy day comes about, the whole idea is that you'll have something to fall back on, at least to cover you for a few days or a few months. So the whole idea of saving might not have been what we would want it to be, but at least we were introduced to it to the point where we know that if you don't save and put something aside, then you're going to be in a worse position when you need that money and can't find anything. So
yes.
Yeah. It's again, right? We kind of covered a lot of this stuff, but, I feel like, and that's the thing, right? I think that because we didn't know, we weren't around people and they didn't give us the full story. We knew some of the story. So we had half of it, like save for a rainy day or save, right? Mm-hmm. But no, save to invest. Because and she said something so key just now. She said that because when that rainy day comes, at least, which I hate that word, at least you'll have enough to cover you for a few days. But what happens after those days are over? And so that's why I say that the message was halfway. That message that was perfect, except that additional part of it that says save so that money could work for you, and now that money is making money. And as that money makes money, if that rainy day comes, you're not only good for a few days.
Right.
You're good past that.
I feel like that's the sliver to the cube, right? You've seen Transformers, right?
Yeah.
That activates the cube. Yeah. It's the save to invest.
Exactly. Absolutely.
It's the investing part that I feel like a lot of us were not taught or strongly encouraged to, and then invest in what and how. Yeah. I know there was a lot of fear when you talk about investing and having those conversations. Oh, the stock market, you can't trust it. You can't.
White people sitting
right. Yeah,
right.
like what are you doing?
Babylon system.
But you know what? Honestly,
yeah.
And I'm happy she's talked about it because susu.
Yeah, I love the susu.
Everybody, everybody showing,
That's the happiest I ever seen my mother.
Yo.
What was her hair?
What is your
What is her draw? What is her hair? Like, oh, I'm like, hey, Mom.
You get your new school shoes.
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah,
okay? Because the partner hand drop. But that's honestly, it's a age-old tradition.
Yeah.
That yes, on one side of the coin provides comfort when you get your draw, and on the other side, that shit can be scary. That is the riskiest shit.
For sure.
There are a lot of bankers, right, partner? Bankers who have run off
The money.
with all of the money.
Yes.
Like their hand, your everything.
Everybody, man.
You can't. They disappear.
There has
People
to be
have
a trusted-
died.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I've
People
heard
were
stories.
killed.
Yeah.
People have been,
For sure. For sure.
you know, it's a very it's a very risky
right.
type of saving investment plan.
Right. For sure.
Yet
for
we
sure.
swear by it, and yes, we are it is some sort. It's like an aggressive savings, if you will, right?
sure.
Like a structured. And if you don't have discipline, if you don't have self-discipline over your own ability to save, right? Because you can't access that. I'm currently, throwing a hand, right? Because I realize that I have to learn self-discipline. I don't have any when it comes to saving my money, because it's like I'll save it, and then the littlest thing will happen.
Buy
Oh
one,
my
get one
goodness, I'm
free.
short.
Carnival.
Don't judge me.
One word,
judge
sir.
Got it right.
Listen, those frontline costumes
on,
cost money. Don't
So we gotta keep it 100. We in front of Mr. AshCash. Gotta talk to him and testify about your money.
No, I follow her IG. I see how she go. How she give it up a carnival.
Right?
See, you ain't low. You ain't low.
Frontline costume.
You ain't low.
Ain't cheap,
Listen,
man.
see
I
you
broke
out
up
here.
my costume payments into a payment plan, okay? I'm making my payments. So, back to what I was saying, the sister and the partner, right? Yes, it's very risky, but also, again, I feel like there's benefit in it in terms of teaching you how to save weekly and creating that habit of putting something aside weekly. However, the challenge in that is that money is not really creating a return on investment. You're not gaining any interest on that. Again, the risk of someone running off with your hand. And
I also think that we need to redefine what the word investment means, because investing doesn't only mean stock market, right? You can invest in a business. You can invest in yourself. You can invest in rental properties. You can invest, right? You can invest in real estate. Like, there's so many things that you can invest in. And I guess because when you look, on a television, they use the word investing, as a way to talk about stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. I say invest in yourself, right? Invest in intellectual property. I didn't write 8 books just because I like writing. I actually suck at writing, But when I wrote my first book 10 years ago, and when I got $200 a month from that one book, I said, yo, what if I wrote 2 books? And 3 books and 4 books, right? And so now, 8 books later, so my first book came out December 5th, 2009. So we're talking about 10 years later, I still make money from that book. I wrote that one time. So that money that I invested, that $500-600 that I invested in writing the book to pay people to do it, I've made it 1,000 times over.
What a great investment. And let me talk to you a little bit about, I have a partner of mine who loves talk about buying houses and want to flip houses and renting apartment and rent and all that.
I think I know who.
How do you think someone should present that idea and get into that kind of field?
Yeah. So I think there's 2 parts of that we need to dissect, right? Is that you have the flippers, the hustlers, right? So you do wholesaling. Wholesaling is like, I don't have, I know somebody who wants to sell it. I know somebody who wants to buy. I put myself in the middle. I make something off the difference, right? Quick way to make money. Right. Flipping, same thing. You got some assets. You bring some assets together. You buy a house. You fix it up. You sell it for a higher price, right? But that's still working for money. Do not mistake it. Even though it's real estate, you have to work for that. It's not easy. You have to grind to find the people, everything, right? It's a grind. On the flip side, you have investors who invest in homes, buy and hold, renting it out. That is the long-term game. That is where wealth is built.
That's the mailbox money.
That's the mailbox money.
Right.
That's where wealth is built. And so for me, it's the same thing. There's no difference. I don't tell people who don't come from money to not work. You have to work. Where else are you going to get money from?
Right.
But the end goal isn't just to continue to work. The goal to work is to make money, take that money, invest that money. Same thing with real estate. If you want to get into real estate, you might have to start as a wholesaler. You might have to start flipping houses. But your goal isn't to be a master wholesaler and a master flipper. No, you get that quick cash. And the good thing about it, like if you're good enough, it's a lot of cash. But you take that lot of cash and you buy your property. But you don't buy your property to flip it. You find a property that you can buy and hold on to it. Right now, when you start to rent it out, you Airbnb it or whatever you want to do, that's mailbox money. Because, and here's the beauty of real estate. If you buy a house today for $200,000, in 10 years, it's not going to be worth $200,000. It's going to be worth $300, $400, $500, whatever it's going to be worth. And if you rented it out, you're getting income from it. So you're doubling your mailbox money. And so I think that what happens is that people put real estate in this one bucket, and that's why it's hard to understand. It's like, what's going on? I think people need to separate it and understand that there's different stages of real estate, and which stage are you trying to approach somebody in, right? If somebody's approaching me and talking about, oh, I want to be a wholesaler, or I want to, give me some money to flip houses, I'm not interested. But if you got a good deal on something that I can buy and hold, that's something that, listen, this building has 4 tenants already. The rent roll is $8,000. Put X amount of money, and this is what your rent roll would be. I could do the math in my head. Oh, I give you $40,000. I make my money back in 3 years. Okay, bet. Great investment. Because anything after 3 years is all profit for me.
Profit for you. Got you. And how do you think people should go about learning about real estate and getting into that field? Because I think sometimes there's a lot of people that are interested in this.
Yeah.
You always hear somebody coming up to you with a dream.
Yeah.
I want to get into real estate.
Yeah.
Always some guy talking about that shit.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So, like, tell us the reality of really, because, you know what I mean? Because people got to do their homework and do all that. Like,
yeah, so YouTube Academy.
No, seriously, you laugh.
Get your membership.
it's real talk.
Get your membership.
And right now it's free.
Right.
So
here's the deal, right? The thing about information at this stage of the game is that it's free. And so I'm a student that says, let me learn it, and when I'm ready to implement it, I want to go to somebody that's done it. And so I'm not a fan of paying somebody money just to learn and that's it. I'm a fan of learn, do your research, do your Googles, do everything you need to know, so that way when you connect with somebody who's done it before, they're not teaching you how to do it. They're teaching you the things that they've done, and now you could connect with them, right? So for instance, like I teach people how to write books and how to make money from books. Don't be the first time you've ever researched self-publishing. No, go to Google, go to Amazon, look up all the free information out there that tells you how to do these things. So by the time you come to me, I can tell you specifically, these are the tips and the tricks and the things that I've done that has helped me create this book. So the same thing with real estate. Go to YouTube, go to Google, do not pay $80,000, $30,000, $20,000, $10,000, whatever. Don't pay all this money for somebody to tell you something that you could just Google and learn yourself. Learn the basic, and that's what I think. I say learn the basic concepts, the basic terminology of whatever it is, real estate, investing, starting a business, learn the basic concepts, and then find someone who you can relate to. Because at the end of the day, the information is the same, but it's like, who can you relate to? Can you relate to this person? Are they explaining it in a language that you understand? Can they help you take action? And that's how I would say people, need to approach it.
That's real. So you know who you are, sir.
Yeah. Stop selling dreams, fam.
Yes, fam. Thank you.
Stop selling dreams, fam.
AshCash. talk to them.
Why are you embarrassing?
Come on now. Come on.
Nah, he need to hear this though.
Nah, he need to hear
People
it.
work hard for their money, man.
Facts.
Stop. You know what I'm trying to
Facts.
say? Like, stop selling dreams, fam. How many homes you own?
Right.
Show me your rent roll.
In this person's defense, have they done anything? Have they taken any steps?
No, they have. They have. Look,
Okay.
I'm just saying. But
my fault. I'm
I
sorry.
think the reality is what Mr. AshCash is saying. You know what I mean? You can't sell dreams. You gotta
And I
show
agree
and
with that.
prove.
You have to show some effort.
and prove, sir.
You know
Show
what?
and prove.
And that's the thing.
I'm gonna tag him. I'm gonna tag him.
Yeah.
Let me mind my business.
No, but that's the other thing, right? The other thing is this, right? And this is what I don't like about our community, is that our community, we might hear a concept that sounds good,
Right.
and we swear we know it, and so now we're teaching something that we heard but we didn't experience ourselves. And so what happens is, because there's like little nuances that we don't know about because we didn't experience it, we're trying to drive people towards this thing, and some of them listen, and now they get burnt, and then they never trust nobody again.
Right.
And so I think, so that's why when I went hard, because I'm like, no, if you don't know it, stay out.
No,
because
and
we
you're
need
right.
our community to know the real knowledge, so we could get out of our situations, because we are not the minority.
No.
Right? When you think about the Caribbeans, Caribbean Americans, Africans, we are not the minority.
Right. Right.
And so if we come together, we could take over the world, literally.
Right. But it's so important that you say, sometimes you got to go out there and be the trailblazer.
Yes.
Somebody got to take the risk for themselves. But I think sometimes when you can go out there, everybody might not jump on the bandwagon all at once, but if you got a dream, you got something that you want to do, take the first step out there.
Absolutely.
Do the homework and show and prove, meaning you come in, I want to see a presentation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I talk about, like, when we started FeteWorld, I don't take this light. I come in, I did my research. I went to conferences. I sat down and I said, okay, let me develop a presentation and a plan to show people what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. So that's all I really say. If you're interested in anything, any business that you're trying to do, anything that you're trying to get involved in, you want to make money, you want to invest, it also takes a commitment in terms of doing your own homework.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I heard what Mr. AshCash is saying here loud and clear. Do your homework. And then you take that brave step and step outside there and try it. And then come back and bring the light to the people.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Show the receipts. I just want receipts. That's all. If you gonna talk to me, show me receipts. Don't tell me what you heard. Don't tell me, I've been, this person in my company got a Bentley. Nah, where's your Bentley?
Right.
I want to see your rhyme. We talking about somebody else's.
Don't tell me about that.
When you pull up with yours, then I'm gonna talk to you.
Yeah.
Like, it's like when you go to the gym, right? If you go to the gym and you see somebody come and try to train you, and he ain't got no muscle,
nothing,
and you like,
He have nothing to discuss.
I'm out, bro.
You know the science, but you're not applying the science. So I don't think
I'm gonna listen to you about no diet plan. Like,
exactly.
Come on now. So that's great.
So we're just gonna wonderfully walk into, you talked about, we talked about a lot of things actually. So did your parents clash, or did you experience a clash? Maybe it was your mom and your auntie, right? Between money mindsets, and when you were having in-home money issues, did your mom discuss that with the family? Like, did they say, sit down, let me tell you why I'm saying no, you can't have a new pair of shoes.
Yeah, right.
But I think that's a part of the problem. The fact that our parents didn't really sit down and explain to us what was going on. It was always just no.
Yeah, I agree.
So if you hear no all your life, when you get older, those no's, a lot of people are operating at 30 from a no they got when they were 6.
That's big facts, yeah. No, absolutely. So yeah, in my household, there wasn't any discussion about money. It was none of your business. Stay out of grown folks' business,
facts.
right? And so, even when I was going to the bank, I think it's a CVS now, but we grew up, there was a downtown spot that my mom used to had a savings account. It was one of the big banks, and I could never, not even get close to the teller window with her. Like, I had to sit down. Like, You better sit down while I go to the teller window, right?
Go and sit down.
You remember the passport?
Yeah.
She had the passport book that she used to keep she had all the passport books. She used to have them in a bag. She would tie it in a bag,
Right.
put it away, and you couldn't stay out her room.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what I heard about too is like from my experience growing up, it's that, and they telling you to turn off the light.
Oh yeah.
Unplug
Oh yeah. Yeah.
appliances.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be home.
Yeah.
Unplug it.
Listen, when they talk about doing the different things they said to save money in a Caribbean household, let the water run too long.
Right.
You take a shower too long.
Right.
Yeah, you run up the water bill.
Right.
You run up the light bill.
But-
Every bill is running up the phone bill.
Right.
You run up the phone bill.
Wait, let me tell you a joke, right? So, jerk saw story time, right? So, I remember when I got my first apartment, and again, I grew up in that same sort of situation. Mom was like, yo, if you're not in the room, turn off the light. To the point where literally it was like you could see lights clicking off behind me as I'm like walking through the house, right? So I got my first apartment, and it just so happens that I was there by myself, or I was always at work, and so I called Petco because I was like, yo, I just want to make sure everything's good, blah blah blah. I called them for some business, and she was like, oh ma'am, I didn't realize that someone was actually living there. And I said, what do you mean? She was like, the bill is only $35. Mind you, it's like July.
Yeah.
It's hot. I got an AC in the
Yo.
apartment. She was like,
Caribbean
listen, I was literally like opening the windows. I had a fan from the Walmart. I would wash my clothes after 7. I was
Wow.
watching TV in the dark.
Jesus.
Boy.
I
Caribbean
understood.
conditioning, man.
Y'all ain't right. I understood how serious. Do you know what it is to get that light bill with the red mark, with the red line across
I-
it?
I know,
Final
I know.
notice.
For sure.
In the wintertime.
Yeah, no. And these are the things like that I think, they should have had, maybe some discussions
Yeah,
sometimes
agreed.
because you just get a negative kind of thing. Like, don't pick up the phone if they call.
Yeah,
let it ring
Right.
to the answer machine, pick it up.
Right.
Like them bill collectors.
Right.
Let you mess up and answer the phone one day and say, yeah, my mom home. Yeah, daddy. So, come on now.
So, in full transparency, Mama Jerk Sauce almost put my ass out one day because I was home and I picked up the phone. A bill collector called, and this was around the time when they started getting slick. And hi, can I speak to so and so? They called her by her first name, so I thought it was one of my mom's friends. And so I said, oh, well, Miss So-and-so, she's not here right now. She's at work. Oh, I forgot her work number. Would you mind giving me her work number?
Oh.
They caught you slipping,
Yo,
man. That's how
They
do it.
called mommy at work.
Whoa.
Listen, the phone call I got,
Whoa.
mommy was blazing through the phone, right? She was like,
Ghost dad you.
she was like, you gave them my phone number. Ah! Like I gave them the direct line too, right?
Oh, you gave the extension.
Yo,
Oh,
I
man.
mean, I thought it was Miss Angela calling for mom.
man.
At least you gave the extension. 'Cause
Right.
Had the secretary picked her, it'd have been even worse.
All bad.
Listen, me, Mr. Mommy called me in and she said, yo, and then I got mad and hung up the phone, right?
Oh, yeah, you
She was
messed
like, she
up.
called me
That's
back. She was
round
like,
two.
pack your things. She said, you think your whole drawers bigger in there? It's your drawers not bigger than my drawers. Make sure you pack up your things. They want to hang up the phone and people. But I didn't understand
Yeah.
the gravity of what I did
Yeah.
until I started getting those bill collectors.
You know, that's an interesting thing because I feel, and Mr. AshCash, can you talk to us a little bit about that piece about getting in debt? Because a lot of us as Caribbeans, my father had that problem. He seemed to always be running into some credit card problems, and
But now him get
he
more.
liked to he liked to just ignore these people.
Yeah.
But talk to us a little bit about how do we manage debt?
Yeah, I think so. A couple of things. I think that the management of debt starts with the management of what you have, right? So it's like how can you manage something else if you don't manage what you already have? And so majority of people, and it's not just Caribbean people, this is like the majority of Americans, and around the world, are not creating budgets, are not knowing how much money is coming in and how much money is coming out. And so what's happening is people are living based, on a reaction basis, right? Like as things are happening, that they react to it with their money, and then when they don't have enough for certain things, that's when they start to borrow. And so I think it starts off with understanding your number. Like, what is your number? How much money do you need each month to manage your household, and how much money is actually coming in? Do you have a deficit? If you have a deficit, what are the things that you can cut back on, or how can you make more money? Right? And understanding that, all right, you know what? This is how much is coming in. This is how much I need, I need to, manage my household. This is how much is coming in. And do I have a surplus? If there's a surplus, then what am I going to do with that surplus? If it's a deficit, what am I going to do with that deficit? And it starts there. It can't start with debt. We can't tackle debt by looking at debt, because debt is the result of not managing your budget, not managing your current money, not managing your expenses. And so we can leave debt where it is, but let's start to focus on where is your money going. And so I say, make sure you have a budget, make sure you have a spending diary even, right? So the top of the month, before you even start telling me what's on your budget, do a spending diary. For 1 month, just figure out where's your money going, because a lot of times people don't consider Ubers, eating out, all of those things. So you start giving me those fixed bills, then you're like, I don't understand why I don't ever have no money. Jerk sauce. No, I'm sorry.
It's at Chipotle.
Yeah, right. So you're like, I don't understand, and so yeah, you need the spending diary to really kind of say, all right, where is this money going? Yeah. And now when you look at this money and you say, man, I'm spending $200 a month at Chipotle?
Yes, or for my there's a lot of people here that want to even keep it real. There's also people, some people about Uber.
Yep.
You said eating out. Little lunches you get during the week.
Yeah.
Things add up. If you especially trying to eat healthy, it's gonna cost you about 15 to 20.
Yeah.
One salad is $12.
Come on now.
Plus.
Yeah. And then for people who are recreationally involved in drinking, going out, drinking, and greenery, that costs. And let's just be honest. No, there's some people
the greenery costs.
Greenery costs them things. Yeah. No, but people don't think about it until they're like, oh, that's just.
No, it's
you better throw that in the budget.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so here's a trick. This is a trick. I tell everybody, you should not only have one bank account. Everybody should have 3 bank accounts. You should have a bill account. You should have a spending account, and you should have a savings account.
Take notes.
Right? Your savings account is you pay yourself first. So you say, how much money can I save? 10 to 30% is what I say. Minimum 10%, maximum 30%. Put that away. Keep, out of sight, out of mind. Do not have your savings account in the same bank you have your regular checking account, because if you have it in the same bank, you're going to be tempted to take it out.
That's so true.
Out of sight, out of mind. So open up an online bank, open up a bank that's 30 miles from your house, do something that no debit card attached to it, do it automatic. Have a bill account, right? So now you did your spending diary, you did your budget. How much are my fixed bills each month? And make sure all of that money goes to that bill account, that you don't have no debit card, you can't touch that. All of that is to pay bills. And then whatever is left over, whatever you've budgeted for you to spend, that should go into your spending account. And so you should never see your savings account money or your bill account money. Never. The only money you should be seeing is the money you have to spend. And so if your budget is $200 a month, then every month you look at that account, and when you know that you hit zero on that $200, then you know you ain't got it.
That means no fresh bundles, ladies.
Exactly. Stop commingling funds. That's what's happening.
Stop commingling funds.
Definitely.
Man, I done wrote down like 15 of these damn things, man. I'm going to have to review this episode one more time and sit down and do this budget one more time. I'm doing things the wrong way.
The financial gems.
Financial gems,
You know what? Funny enough, I have several bank accounts, right? Because I've learned that you should have several. But again, even with the online accounts, which I really appreciate, because you can automate that, or if you want to do it manually, or can I just tell you Digit? Digit is great, but they have caused.
What is Digit?
So Digit's an online bank account, if you will, where you can set up savings goals for yourself. So say I have a TNT Carnival 2020 account there.
Okay.
Thank you. So what Digit does...
You're not commingling funds. You're doing good.
I try not to. So what it does is it siphons off like 50 cents, 99 cents, $2 from your attached or your linked checking account. And it puts it in this account. But you can either manually add or you can withdraw money from that, and it takes like a day. But if you want it instant now, you pay like 99-cent fee or whatever. So there's Digit, there's Capital with a Q, Capital. I think there's another one. I know Acorn, but that saves and invests. That talks about what you were talking about, which I think is important. And Stash. And by the way, we're not getting paid by any of these companies, full disclosure. So this is just sharing for the sake of sharing.
Yes, they may be beeped out too.
My bad.
No, I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? But
They need to send us a check.
Yeah.
Anybody who's working for Digit or any of these companies that I mentioned, you need to send us a check.
We can have these commercials. We have Mr. AshCash on. You know we legitimate.
Exactly. So that's essentially what it is. It's a tool. But what I find is that when I'm in a crunch, or when that checking account is looking low, and I know an automated bill is gonna come out at this day, and I'm like, I run and grab that money. I can still tangibly touch it, yes, for a fee or for a delay of a day or so. However, but that's why I like the susu, right? I can't see that. I don't know where it is. I can't touch it for a whole year.
So let me ask you a question though.
Discipline.
You break your leg, not you, but somebody breaks their leg. They go to the doctor. The doctor puts a cast on, and then gives them crutches, right? They like the crutches, and they stay on the crutches forever. Does the leg ever get strong?
No.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Enough said.
Lesson learned.
Right? And so I get it, right? And so that's part of what I'm saying is I love the susu too, but the susu is a crutch. It's a beginning though, so I don't knock it because for me I'm like, all right, it shows you that you have the discipline. Now that you see that you have the discipline,
take it a step further.
Do it for yourself, because doing it for yourself, there's more longevity in that. And so and I want to add something to what you were saying about that issue, and I want everybody to do this. I want everybody to struggle for 1 month, meaning this, or 2 months or 3 months, meaning for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, I need you to pull back on everything. Don't do Uber, don't eat out, like go as tight as you can. Take all of your expenses, go as tight as you can, and create a cushion with that money that you save in your bank account. And vow to yourself to never go below that cushion. Meaning that if your bills are X amount of money and you're living check to check or every time that's happening, then pull back for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever it's gonna take, and come to a point where you have $1,000, $2,000. And that is going forward, that is the minimum amount that you should have in your account. So that way, now as you start getting paid, you never dip below that 2,000, and then you never have that issue.
Ladies and gentlemen, that includes the Hulu. That includes the
Plus. Automatic payments too.
So, well, if you notice, everything is moving towards a subscription-based platform, and that's how they get you. Because I remember I was looking at my budget. I was working on a budget. And I literally was working on this for like 3 hours in silence. I was sitting there and I was like, wait a minute. So I called up Netflix and I said, hey, blah, blah, blah. I had a conversation with the rep and I said, and I did the math. I was like, yo, over the next like 3 months, if I cut the Netflix, I will save $50. I know that may sound small, but that $50 can be snowballed on top of a credit card bill. That's
costing you way more.
That I could push somewhere. That $50 to somebody who has 10 is a lot. So I cut the bad boy off, and I was like,
and then it's multiple of those, know.
Right.
Hulu.
Yep.
You talking about Amazon Prime?
Yep.
Disney done come out with their own little subscription thing, and also the gym fees for those people who hit the gym. You know what I'm saying? And you go on the Planet. Make sure you got your gym subscription. Planet Fitness was the first one that started that.
Yep.
You pay low rate. $20.
Yep.
Ain't nobody going to the gym like that.
Exactly.
They got mad people sign up for Planet Fitness. Ain't nobody going to Planet Fitness.
Don't they serve? You know what?
And they serving pizza and all that.
I was gonna say
how are they doing that?
Against you. But like these are like the like you said, the monthly subscriptions.
Yep. Those are the money leaks.
Pay attention to
they add up.
Absolutely.
They cost a grip. They add up.
Yeah.
So even Audible, I'll give you a short story about Audible. I had to call up the rep because I noticed like these little deductions here and there, but I was paying attention. I said, sir, I canceled this like 5 months ago, and I noticed I've been charged for the past like 5 months, like $12.99. Don't you know? Oh, ma'am, I'm so sorry. You're so right. We apologize. They refunded me $350.
Wow.
Now, what if I wasn't paying attention?
Exactly.
No, you gotta look at it. The phone bill too.
Yeah.
Anything that you have automated. That's why it's so important. I don't automate any of my bills. I gotta see that.
Yeah.
Let me And sometimes I know it takes time, but as you've been saying, AshCash, what I'm thinking of people need to also set aside some time to really go through their finances.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, I think it's important that we set aside some time. No one says that you should. You know, everybody says, "Oh, go to the gym, do this," but then what about your financial health?
Exactly.
Maybe you know, once or twice a week, you need to be really digging in and seeing what you've been doing, how things are moving, and just basically get a quick check in every week or so.
Yeah.
Sit down. Now, and that's something I need to do.
Nah, you think about it, right? You think about even your health, though, right? Like people do annual checkups, but when it comes to money, people are only checking up on their money when there's an issue.
Yep.
There's no preventative measures. Right? We worry about our credit when we want to buy a house. You know what I'm saying? We worry about, you know what I'm saying? Like not having enough or bills and stuff when we don't have enough money. But like what are we doing to maintain that? So I agree. I think that there should be at minimum once a month. At minimum once a month, you should be looking at your statements. You should be looking at what's coming out. You should be reconciling everything, you know?
So that's actually a really good segue into, you know, how can we either combine our traditional money mindsets with the new knowledge. So as again, going back to that statement that you said earlier, saving to invest.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like saving is what we've been taught traditionally. Now investing is like this new thing that we're learning and getting more information on how to do. So how can we keep what's good about the traditional Caribbean money mindsets, but then marry it with all of this new knowledge?
Yeah, nah, you just said it. Like I have nothing to add to it. Exactly what you just said is how we do it. We add that second piece to it. We add the piece to invest, right? We add the piece that says we're gonna work for money so that money could work for us. Right? We're gonna invest in things that are income producing so we don't have to rely on our physical labor.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. Oh man, that's a dream.
So then I was gonna go in, right? You giving us all the segues. I love it, right? So what are the important things, right? What are the important assets? Because I swear I always have a story. Forgive me, y'all. I always have a story. I remember when I didn't have a car and I was getting ready to get my first car. Very excited. I said, boom. I was looking through the paper. That time we still had classifieds, right? I found a car, 30,000 miles, all highway miles, two-door sexy little coupe. It was like a 2002, right? And this was 2004. I was looking at it and met up with the girl. She was selling it for $8,000. I said, oh, bet I want this car. I go to my parents. No, we want to lease. You're gonna lease a car. Fast forward 10 years later, you know, I'm sitting in a T. Harv Eker seminar, and he's like, leasing's for rich folks. If you ain't rich yet, you don't need to be leasing no car. And I regret not going against what my parents were. Forgive me, parents. I know y'all listening. Mama Jerry Sauce Papa, forgive me. But I really wish I would have stood my ground and said, no, I'm going to buy this car for $8,000. I could have owned that car outright for 10, 20 years. That car was a baby. 30,000.
Car's a little tricky though, because I done got my first vehicle. I paid $1,000 something. It was in Albany, and it was Cutlass Supreme. Some old school. I just needed from point A to point B. Brother struggling. I just need a ride. And it was a lemon, son. I ended up having to wait outside for this dude out of his job. He stopped trying to call me. I tried calling him. He stopped picking up my phone calls. Because everything, as soon as I took the car out, the door froze up. The car stopped turning on. So I got called out there. You know what I'm saying? And then I ended up going, because me and him had I ain't gonna talk about all that, what happened after that. But
we had a discussion.
We had a real discussion.
With hands and feet.
You know what I'm saying? So I ended up having to go now and purchase and made that mistake of going ahead and buying a car from the dealership, having to pay these folks. And when I did the math of how much I paid, I made to pay these people almost 2.5 times worth what that car was.
Right.
I've always thought about it now, and these are the things that no one teaches you. And I wish my parents would have just said something to me. It could have helped me out through that process.
Yeah, I think, I mean, so debt could be the gift and the curse, you know? And I think that what happens is this, right? Debt allows you to buy today something that you might need or want that would take you forever to save up for, right? So you think about a car, you know, if you want a $30,000 car, it might take you a long time to save up $30,000. So you look and you're like, you know what, I could afford $300, you know? And so you buy it, but to your point, it comes with a cost, right? Like there's a cost to it. And so for me, and so I want to be so clear, I love nice things. I buy nice things. But I think that nice things should be paid for with residual income. Okay. It should not be paid for your physical labor. So, if you decide to buy a car, I'm fine with that. But don't work so you can pay your car off. Because think about this for a second. If you want, let's say, y'all Jamaican, so y'all like some Benzes. No, let me stop. But let's say you want a Benz. Let's say you want a Benz, right? Don't have the Jamaican army come after me. I was just joking. I'm joking. It was a joke. You can't take joke, right? So,
he's a friend. He's a friend.
So let's say you want a Benz. The Benz costs $1,000, a $1,000 note. Why not take that same money, buy a property? That property pays rent, and then that rent pays off the Benz, right? And so that's what I think the mindset should be. The mindset should be, I'm working to gain money, and that money is to buy something that could give me more money. And then the money that I'm making from that is what I can use to do all the other things.
That's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I think definitely these are lessons that need to be taught and also implemented in our community. Because we just sometimes, and of course, you're in America, but in the islands too, everybody said nice things. Sometimes you don't know what it is to get there. And I think what I'm hearing throughout this conversation is a certain amount of discipline.
Yes.
Yeah.
Changing your mindset about how you work with your money, making sure to go through and look at your financial health, ensuring that you're paying close attention to how you're spending and where you're putting your dollars at. As Jerk Sauce was saying, you take your old traditional Caribbean thinking of saving, but also learning how to use that now to invest in things that will make you money. That's just some really good points being laid out here today.
But I also want to add to that. I think there's another layer, right? So even how we discuss money. I noticed a while ago I had to back out of certain conversations because if you say you're always broke, you're always gonna be broke,
for sure,
right? You cannot affirm I'm a boss and I make all this money and at the same time engaging in literally conversation after conversation. Lad, me broke. Me not have no money. Me not have this. Me not have that. And it's like you're canceling out everything that you just said.
So true. And I hear that a lot. And I could, from our Caribbean folks, everybody calling, say me broke. We need something. I need this. I need that. You get the calls from your family at all times, especially down in the islands. You always get a call from somebody who needs something.
But I mean a call, a
WhatsApp call, or a voice note explaining the complexities of their plight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Requests that are made of things like PlayStations or Jordans. Things that we know I ain't even buying.
Right, for sure.
Yeah. You still mad about that PlayStation?
Yes. I'm gonna have a TV and I'm gonna ask for PlayStation. But I'm trying to add it up. Mr. AshCash, I'm trying to add it up. You don't have no TV, but you want PlayStation. Anyway, but these are the things that we always get in our community is that we, like you said, Jerk Sauce, it's that thinking of we're always broke, we're always looking for somebody to give out something, and we're supposed to work communally. I always telling my mother the other day was sitting down talking, I said, listen, I think it's important to people to know that if you keep on asking everybody else for money, like the person who's giving is never going to be able to build something that can actually truly help the family.
Yeah.
So let's say every month I'm sending 100 here, 100 there, and 100 there. So $300-$400 is going out of my way to help back home. Fine, understandable. It's a good thing for you to do. But at the same time, if I was able to really invest that money into something now, maybe I could establish a real business, and then with the money from the residuals of that, build wealth for the family.
Absolutely.
Right.
So we never think like, say, instead of saying, yo, we need this, to say, well, how can we all come together
and help?
But you know the saying, if you knew better, you do better. And I think that's why education at every level is important. Not just the head who has the vision. They need to be able to articulate that vision down to everybody, right? Because I think that even if the kids, and we talked about this earlier, and that's why it's important to start having those conversations, because if the kids know that this new mindset is that we're going to work hard for money, but then we're going to make that money work hard for us. If they know that's the mindset, then they're not going to be asking, that they're going to have this understanding that, you know what, I can't ask for the PlayStation because this money is going to go into the business. And if that business start making money, then I can have all the PlayStations I want.
Heck, you can get 2 PlayStations and rent one.
Exactly. but exactly. Right? Exactly.
And they start moving.
Exactly.
That's the hustler.
Exactly. And so I think that needs to be taught, right? That narrative, especially for us, in this new generation, we need to start changing that narrative. We need to start teaching our kids. And that's the beauty, right? The beauty of coming from a Caribbean background and in a background that we know all the things that didn't work. Now we have contrast, right? The Honorable Curtis Jackson once said, joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you need the contrast so you can be able to say, okay, this didn't work. And so now this is what we're going to do to make it work.
That ties into contrast always works in your favor. Yes. So when things look real crazy, there's something in it for you. I often compare it to like a coal mine. There's diamonds in that coal mine. It looks dusty, dirty, and dark, but guess what? There are diamonds in that.
Absolutely.
So with that, any last thoughts, any myths and truths to the Caribbean money mindsets you'd like to clear up? And also, we definitely want to give you an opportunity to share. Where can the people find you?
Yes. So I think my closing remark would be this. Take the good, take the bad, put them all together, and redefine the conversation. We are at a space now, today, where if we collectively take our power with everything that we've been taught, everything that's out there for us, everything that worked, everything that didn't work, we could put that all together and really move as a powerful force. And so I would say, make sure you do your research, understand how money works, make sure you're teaching your kids, make sure you're teaching your community, make sure we're moving as a unit, right? The African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so let's continue to go together. Let's stop trying to separate us. We are all from the same diaspora. Man, I care. No, I'm saying I don't care. Right? We from the same diaspora. We just got dropped off at different places.
Definitely.
So we're the same, and so let's continue to unify. I could be reached. My website is IamAshCash.com. You can follow me on all social media platforms. I'm most active on Instagram, and that's IamAshCash, but also IamAshCash on Facebook, IamAshCash on Twitter, and I'm also Googleable. So holla at me.
Books, resources, tools.
So definitely, I have 8 books out there. So if you go to my website, I have everything there. You'll see, Mind Right, Money Right, 10 Laws of Financial Freedom, Mind Right, Life Right, How to Manifest Your Dreams, What the FICO, 12 Steps to Repairing Your Credit, The Wake Up Call, Financial Lessons Learned from 444, Hustlenomics, based on Nipsey Hussle, and that's actually a free ebook. So if you want that one, you go to hustlenomics.com, get that one for free. I actually have another book that's free called I Build Wealth. If you go to 12stepfreedomplan.com, you can download I Build Wealth. I give you 11 steps to financial freedom. All the stuff that we talked about. See, I appreciate you. That was a good layup. All the stuff that we talked about today is in that book, I Build Wealth. I talk about all the steps to make money, but also how to create residual income and make your money work for you. So go to 12stepfreedomplan.com, and thank you.
No, thank you.
Jerk Sauce, Mansa.
Yeah, man. This was one of the, I just want to say to listeners, this was a great opportunity. Thank you for coming out, sir.
pleasure.
Yes.
We really appreciate it. Hit him up on Instagram. Hit him up. Make sure, get his books. Support the man. He's out here doing God's work right now, man. Helping the people.
Leading the people out of poverty.
Yes. All
The
right.
promised land.
Word. So this is What Happened to Your Accent. We're out.
Later.
Easy.